Hey guys, it's Will again, and I'm back here today, finally, with the tutorial for the first in a series of Stacked Village console and PC iron farms, the only of the kind that will work across both platforms. So, let's take a look at the one that we have today. So this guy right here is a 16 village farm. It's the Iron Beast 16 console or Universal Edition. It's not directly based on any one specific group of farm, but it's basically a combination of his 14 and his 32, and it makes it a 16. So yeah, anyway, let's take a look over here. This is going to be your killing chamber, keep this in mind. As far as its footprint, it is pretty large, so you're going to need a somewhat large flat area to build it in. If you're wondering what some of these distances are, for instance, from the beginning of that blue bit right there all the way out to that last door right there is about 70 blocks. This distance right here from the edge of this roof all the way out there, you're looking at about another 40 blocks. So you want to make sure that you have enough space to build this thing. Also, there's a couple of things really important. Number one, the most important. You see this arrow right here? I have this because I need to know which way is north when I build this farm. I can't build it facing any other direction. It simply will not work, no matter what you do. So, north, north, north. You must know which direction is north, and you must build the farm oriented in this way compared to north. Easy ways to find out which way north is. I can pull out my map. If I'm pointed towards the top of the map, that is north. Also, if I turn on the daylight cycle here, if I look at the sun always moves from east to west. So it rises in the east, you can see it rising this way, and it would set in the west. So if I'm looking east, north is to my left. I don't want you to build a farm. I don't want you to put all this effort into it, all this labor into it, and then have it not work. Not because you did something wrong building it, but because you just simply built it facing the wrong direction. That's a really upsetting reason to have your farm not work. Okay? Now the second thing that I really strongly encourage you to do, you have to build it north. I'm not encouraging you to do that, I'm telling you it will not work otherwise. But something that I really strongly encourage you to do is build this farm in creative first. Don't try to go out and build it for the first time in survival. Build it once in creative, familiarize yourself with it, see where you get hung up and everything like that. Get used to measuring stuff, because this is just one of those builds where, you know, I told you this distance is, you know, such and such a distance out there. It has to be exact. From that spot right here to this villager right here, and then from this villager to that door, and then from this door to that door, and then the distance between this door and that door, they all have to be exact. It all has to be precisely how it is here, or else it simply will not work. So that's another reason to build it in creative and just familiarize yourself with it. You get familiar with the distances a little bit. You remember, oh yeah, that's right. From here all the way to that villager right there, that's 49 blocks. I remember that from building it in creative. You know, the distance from this corner right here all the way to that door over there, that's 32 blocks. The distance from this corner to that villager right there, that's 16 blocks. These are things you need to make sure are correct, and you're going to be more comfortable and more confident, more familiar if you do it first in creative. So I highly suggest that, unless you were just adamantly opposed to ever playing in creative. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I am going to retire, quote unquote, these villagers so that I can build another farm nearby and use this one as reference, and they won't interfere with it. And once I am done doing that, we can get started on the tutorial. So now I've moved over, you can see about, I don't know, 100 blocks from the other farm. I've retired the villagers, so they're no longer registering the doors, and that farm will not interfere with this farm. I've marked out my center. This is where my kill chamber is going to go. It's where your kill chamber is going to go. So keep that in mind when you're deciding where to put this. Also, just a note, the farm tends to spread out mostly east and west. That is where the farm is really wide, not so much north and south. So plan that too. Okay, you can see I have placed a golden arrow up in the north. I know that direction is north. How do I know? Well, by the methods I described earlier. I have taken my map, I have opened it. Let's see here. Bam, open map. And I can look, where is north, where is it? It's when I'm pointed towards the top of the map. And there's my gold arrow. Okay, so I went about, I don't know, 40 blocks to the north of where I marked out my center and I made my arrow. So that's definitely north. This is my chosen center. We are ready to get building. And you can see some of the things in my hotbar right now that I'm going to be using. I'm also going to just ditch this map. Okay, so from wherever you want your center to be, wherever you want to go to collect your iron, and you want kind of the center to be, go up a few blocks from there. Give yourself some space to make a room. Because it's easier to have your iron come out and kind of trickle down a hopper system than it is to run it back up an item elevator or something. Of course, you could do that if you wanted to. So I am going to go up a few blocks, and I'm going to mark out my center right here up above. Okay, so there's my 4 blocks. Now I'm going to use lapis and iron, just like I did on the iron farm over there, only because it's good contrast, and they're easy to count because they have a hard outline. You can use whatever kinds of blocks you want to, but I do advise that when marking out the kind of blue stripe that I'm going to be marking out, that's the center line, do use something that is different, that is recognizable, where you can immediately look at it, where that is cobble instead of smooth stone, or where it's, you know, chiseled stone instead of cobblestone, or something like that. Make it distinct. Okay, so now starting in the north, we are going to add 2 extra blocks. Then we're going to add 2 extra blocks in the west, 2 extra blocks in the east, and then we're going to come out 1, 2, 3 extra blocks to the south, and we're going to get this sort of cross shape right here. Then just go ahead and flank it with some of your other blocks of choice that you're going to be using for the main body of the farm. And stop short, leave a hole right here in the southeast corner. And that is where we are going to put our hopper. So I'll just run my hopper right in there. Now I will hop down and just crouch place my chest there and there. And that's your output for your farm. Okay, so you can run that into a sorting system or do whatever you want to with it, but that hopper is what collects your iron, and that's your iron output. So now, let's look at wrapping this up so that we can make sure that our golems and our water don't get out. So go ahead and run this back like this. Okay, and then around the corner, we're just going to run it all the way around. You don't have to use glass, but I do like to see what's happening inside the kill chamber, so I prefer to use it. Okay, this one corner right here, just place a temp block, put your glass on top of it, break your temp block so you have a little air pocket there, and then stack your glass up 1 higher. Okay, and now just close off your rest of your chamber to the same height, so all of your glass should be 3 high going all the way around. And also leave yourself a little spot to get out, because you're going to need to place your water and your lava, and you're going to want to be able to get out yourself. So I'm going to leave myself a little door on the side to get out of the chamber as I place in my lava and stuff. Okay, so inside the chamber, we're going to take our signs, and we're going to place them like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to crouch, and off of each one of those signs, we're going to place 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. One last time. 1, 2, 3. All right, and now we can go ahead and place our lava right in this corner next to this sign. We can walk underneath it before our water is placed here because we have a 2-block gap. And if we go and stand on the hopper, we should have an air block above our head, so we can hop up and down right there. Okay, now it's time to put in the water, so it's time to get ourselves out. Let's go stand in our doorway. We should be able to reach this white block over here. Just go ahead and put your water down, and that will push everything in this chamber right into that corner. Go ahead and close off your door. And there you go. That is your kill chamber. Okay, going up above. Above the white blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then off to the sides of these, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is, oops, that's a mistake. Sorry, 1, 2. There we go. Now that we have our sort of plus sign shape here, what we're going to do is go on each of these blue blocks and put on 7 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. And then I'll just double it up. Okay, that will make this a total of 8 blocks long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to do that to all 4 of these, and then I'll be back. So now we have something that looks like this, sort of a big plus sign. Now I'm going to take my other block, my iron block in my case, and I'm going to run out the edge from both of these until I make a corner, like that. I'm going to do that to all 4 corners. Run them out, and run them out. So what I want is a big square. Whoops. I want a big square with a blue plus sign in it. And once I have that, I'm going to fill in all of this empty space right here in these corners. I'm going to fill this in solid with iron blocks. So I'll have a big iron square with a lapis plus sign in it. And I'll be back when that's done. So here we are now that I'm finished. You should have something that looks similar to this, but with whatever blocks you're using. Going from the center outwards, you should have 1 of your stripe block. For me it's lapis, and then you should have 9 more of your other block. For me it's iron, and that should go all the way around. Now to build this upwards, we're just going to put a 2-high wall going all the way around of these same blocks. Please do put in your stripe. It's going to help you through the entire build to find the center of the farm, both east and west and north and south. And that's going to help you know exactly where to place everything, because like I said, it's a very particular build. You need to make sure that everything is placed just how I place it. Okay? So I'm going to build this 2-high wall all the way around, and I'll be back. Now we're going to go further up. On each corner, stack up 2 blocks. And now we're going to repeat this bottom floor, these 3 layers right here, the floor layer and then the 2 wall layers. We're going to repeat this exactly on top of these 4 pillars. So I'm going to replicate this bottom layer right up here, starting here. Going to put in my stripe so that I can reference it for the middle of the farm. I'm going to run right around, and I'm just going to start building the exact same thing that we just built, only up here. And I'll be back when I'm done with that, and after I put my stripe in. Okay guys, see you soon. At this point you should have something that looks very much like this. It's extremely similar to a traditional iron golem farm. This is your top floor, this is your bottom floor, this is your kill chamber. It's a little bit fancy looking because it's made of lapis and iron, and the kill chamber is a little bit extravagant, but aside from that, you could pretty much slap villagers indoors on this thing, put some water in it, and it would be a single village iron farm. That's not what we're going to do though. We are going to go way bigger. We are going to go for 16. Okay, so the way that we are going to put the water in this thing is a little bit tricky, so I'm going to put glowstone everywhere that I'm not going to put water blocks. You do not need to put the glowstone in. I just want to make very clear to you, the viewer, where I am not placing water buckets, and I am not placing them in the corners, those 3 corner blocks, and on each stripe I am not placing the water blocks right here. So you'll see what I mean. So I'm just going to place them right in between, place them in between, in between, in between, in between, and in between. Okay, oh, I still have one more. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, what that does is it makes all of the water run right up to the plus sign but does not run in. This is what yours should look like. If you have a 20 by 20 like I do, and you ran all your distances correctly and you placed the water in everywhere except for the places that I showed you with the glowstone, you should have it just like this, where it flows up to the blocks but not over them. Now I'm going to remove my temporary blocks. They don't need to be here. They were only to illustrate to you where I was not placing water. And in each one of these corners, up high, I am going to place one more water source. As you can see right here, the water is kind of flowing into the corner. We don't want that. We want it to flow into the center. So we're just going to place one a block higher, so it's up here at the second level, right in the corner. Bam. And that's it. So we do that to all 4 corners. And we are set. Anything that spawns in here will flow directly into that center. Okay, do the same thing to the top, and meet me back here. Now you should have something that looks like this. And I just wanted to point out that I put some lighting underneath the farm, not because it's something that you need to do, just because I didn't want there to be some weird dark spot underneath the farm during the video that YouTube compression did something strange with, because I hear real YouTubers say all the time that it compresses dark stuff poorly. So I just wanted to add some lighting underneath here so that when we came down here we could see and not have to deal with any strange, compression artifacts. This is also the time I want to point out that there's a lot of dripping going on down here, and even in here, although the dripping in here doesn't bother me in particular because this is where the golems go, but the dripping down here really irritates me. It doesn't hurt anything in terms of farm performance, but it's something that bothers me personally. So what I like to do is just half slab the entire bottom of the farm just to get rid of the drips. And you don't have to do this part at all, this is completely optional, but I'm going to half slab the bottom here. I'm going to use the stone brick slabs for my stripe, and I'm going to use the regular stone slabs just for the iron blocks. And I will be back and all this dripping nonsense will be gone, so this won't have to be in the video at any point after this. That makes me a lot happier. So next, we need to start putting the wings on this thing. So, for putting the wings on, again, I want you to reference your arrow. It's really, really important. Your wings need to not go on the arrow side and the opposite side, not on the north and south. Your wings must go in the east and west. What do I mean when I say wings? I'm talking about all of these doors here. That's the west wing, and that's the east wing. So when I refer to the west and east wing, this is what I'm talking about. These are the doors that actually make up the villages that cause the golems to spawn. And these are their complementary doors on the other side. East wing, west wing. There is no such thing as a north wing or a south wing. If yours has a north or south wing, it is not built correctly, and it is not going to work. Alright, so let's hop back over, start working on our wings. So I'm bringing a new block in. I'm going to be using polished andesite, again, because I think it contrasts fairly well and it has a nice hard outline so it's easy to count. You may use whatever you want. You don't have to use a different block if you don't want to, but I think it makes it visually a lot easier to tell what's going on. So, on the west side of our structure, which this is the west side, how do I know? Because there's north. West is on the left of north. Okay, so we're going to go in 2 blocks. And we're going to place the first one right there. So that's 1, and we're going to come out 8 in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're going to come out 7 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to come out 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now underneath these iron blocks, we're going to come down 3. 1, 2, 3. These are just temporary. Go ahead and take them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so exactly under those iron blocks, we place another layer of iron blocks. And under this one, again, it doesn't have to be iron. It's whatever you're using. But I'm using iron blocks. So under this one, you're going to place another row of 7. Okay? Alright. And then we're going to knock out these blocks right here. Alright. We're going to knock out that block. We're going to place a piston. Going to move that block up by 1. And we're going to put this block right here. So that's what we want. And then finally half slab on top of the piston. Okay. So that's what our 7 blocks look like on the top. And then just beneath the block with the piston, or the block that the piston's holding, you're going to knock that out on this one. Okay? Now, I want you to take some wooden doors. On the top, it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. So you have 5 on the top. No door in the middle. And again, 1, 2, 3. Skip this middle block right here. You don't even have to have it there if you don't want to, or you could put some sort of lighting right there, or you could just put a block down and plop a torch on it. That would be fine too. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you have 3 doors, and then you skip one underneath the block that the piston is holding, and then you have 3 more doors. That's your bottom level. Then we go up to the top level. It's 3 doors. Skip one. We have an opening right there, and then 2 doors, and then an empty block. Okay? And I suggest just torching everything. I'm really going to torch stuff up. You decide how much you want to torch things up. Okay? Now I want to take this and I want to build its mirror image on the east side. Alright? So same thing over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I go to my other block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Back to my other block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I end up with 8, 7, 5. Come over here. Gonna knock this block out. Gonna knock this block out. I put in a piston. Put a block on its head. I move this block up to give that room to extend. And I come down 1, 2, 3. That's going to be a floor. Come down 1, 2, 3. That's going to be a floor. Then I run this all the way along, so it's 7 blocks, just like my top blocks. Run this one along, so it's 7 blocks. On this layer, I knock out the middle block. Then as far as doors go, on my top level, it's 1, 2, 3 in the front. 1, 2, and then an empty spot right there. Empty spot in the middle on the bottom. 1, 2, 3 in the front. 1, 2, 3 in the back. Okay, so it's the exact same thing that we have over there, except for its mirror opposite. Now what we need to do is we need to take this structure and we need to copy it 15 times on each side down to the end until you are right here, 2 blocks away from this corner. So it will be symmetric. So copy it 15 more times all the way down on each side, and I'll meet you back here. I was about to put down the doors in the east wing here, and I realized I forgot to tell you something that's really important about the placing of these doors. And that is that when you put them down, you can't place them where you're facing south or north. No facing north, no facing south. When you put them down, you need to either be facing east or you need to be facing west. It doesn't matter which one, they'll look, basically the difference is this. If I'm standing on this side, if I'm standing on the west side and facing east, my door ends up on this side of the block. If, like over here, I was standing on the east side and facing west, my door ends up on the east side of the block. So that's the only difference, but either one is correct. However, if I was standing in the north and facing south, or standing in the south and facing north, the door would not work in the farm, it wouldn't get registered, the farm wouldn't work at all. So the kind of easiest thing to do is just run sideways while you place these things, and you can just kind of do this. And same thing over here. You can just run from side to side. This is just as easy to do if you're in survival. Although, obviously you'll need scaffolding to stand where I'm floating right now. But that's it. And then once they're there, you can open them, you can close them, it doesn't matter. Just as long as they were placed down in that fashion. Okay? So I'm going to finish out this bottom level right here, and all the doors and everything on the other side, and I'll meet you back here. Now you should have something that looks roughly like this. Well, when I say roughly, I mean it should have whatever blocks you used, and otherwise it should look more or less exactly like this. So, this repeating tile that we did, I want you to go to the northwest corner, which means if I'm looking at my north, I'm on the left side. And you can go ahead and take out that block, that has slab, and take back that piston. You don't need it. Just go ahead and put a block there, and then you don't have to put anything in the gap, but I don't want to fall into it. You probably don't want to fall into it either, so just put a piece of glass right there, okay? Then go down to the southeast side, which is the opposite corner. So I'm on the right side of the north arrow, but I'm also on the opposite side of the farm from it, and do the same thing. Take out your half slab, take out your block, take out your piston, take out your block, take it all back, you don't need it, and just block, glass, block. Okay? So it should look just like this from underneath. The glass should be just offset from the piston. So when this piston pushes forward, the arm would be at the same place that this glass is. Okay? Alright, perfect. Next, we're going to get started on placing some of our extra doors. For getting started on placing some of the satellite doors, I want you to start by coming over to the west side of the farm. So you'll be looking over and seeing the north arrow on your right when you look at it. So come down here to the center line. Come out 1, 2, 3, 4, just on the south side of the center line. And then we're going to want it to be 4 along this way also, so we already have a block there. So we come off, we consider this 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we want it to come out 3. So 1, 2, 3. So looking at this now, we have a 4, 4, 3, and then we want it to be 3 wide here also. 1, 2, which makes it 3 wide in total. Okay. And then just carry it all the way back. And then fill it in with your block of choice. And then just right here, knock these 3 blocks out, make a little skylight, and then just put some glass or something in case you walk past here so you don't fall down. Okay? Now, we're going to come underneath this. Alright, and to look at the measurements on this again, it starts on just the south side of the center line. That comes out 4, and then in this direction it's also 4, and then it goes 3, and in this direction it's also 3, and then it runs the whole way back, which of course is 7 because it's 3 plus 4, so 7. And then you just kind of have this one little notch on the end. It doesn't quite reach all the way to the edge. Okay. So come out to the front and come down 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. Okay, and I'm actually going to use a different color here. But it's only for illustrative purposes. It's not necessary. You don't need to use a different color. You don't need to use wool. This is just so you'll be able to see the relationship between the circuits, the villagers, and the doors. Okay, so come back 6 blocks. Okay, so from the tip all the way back, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then in this direction, you want to carry it all the way to the edge. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks that way too. Okay, and then just keep it under the roof. Just follow the outline of the roof, so it's 3 wide, and then it's 3 wide, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we don't quite go all the way back, so instead of going back 4, we only go back 3. So this shape is 3, 4, 3, 3, and then in this direction it's 6. And it goes all the way up to the edge of that little roof we made. Go ahead and fill this in. Okay. And then I want you to cover it with doors. Whole thing. Again, make sure you place these while you face either east or west. Do not face north or south. And then just to try and keep mobs from spawning in there, I'm going to place a few torches. And there we go. That is our first set of satellite doors. Okay, I am going to grab some glass to match this. I'm going to start underneath here in this back corner. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Mark this block. Okay? I'm going to take out these extra blocks so we have a nice clean diagonal. So it runs straight out of the middle of that corner right there. So it's not 16 blocks from here, it's 16 blocks from this back corner. So it's 13 blocks from here. Okay. And then while you are here, you can run off to the side right there. And then place a torch here. Half slab up there for spawn proofing. And put a door right here. Okay. We are going to go out 16 more blocks and we are going to put another door just like this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Block. There. Torch down here to prevent spawns. Door. Block. That door again has to be placed facing east-west if you're going to put the block back here like me. Okay. Same thing with this door. If the block is going to be up here, you need to place this door facing east-west. Okay? Alright. Now I want you to come up to the height of the door, height of the top of the door, and then go 1, 2, 3 blocks. Okay? Go ahead and take these out. These are just temporary anyway. Knock out that middle block. Put in a piston. And then this could be solid blocks. You do not have to use glass, but I like to use glass. I like to see what is going on with my villagers. And this is going to be a holding cell for a villager. So we're going to go up 3 blocks with the glass. And then it's not necessary, but I like to do a top of half slabs. And then you're going to have to get a villager in here. I am not going to tell you how to do that. There's multiple ways you can get them in minecarts, you can use water streams to push them, you can get them in boats and move the boats on ice or something. It's up to you how you get your villager in here. Obviously I'm going to use a spawn egg because I'm in creative, but you need to get a villager in here somehow. Okay. Before we do though, let's get this piston to extend. So let's just go ahead and put a torch right here, half slab right there. Okay. And now I'm going to get my spawn egg, put my villager in, and you could just cap him off if you wanted to. I'm going to put a piece of glowstone here because I like it when it gets lit up. I think it looks good. Not necessary though. Okay. So we are going to run a line right past this out to that torch and block. So just run it straight out. It should meet right up. Oh wait, it's like that? I guess I was confused. Okay. I apologize. Whoops. The torch and block go like that. Okay. Alright. And then we're just going to run this line back here. 3 past. Let's go 4. And then run it straight back this way. And just leave it hanging for now. And if you're in survival again, I just want to remind you, throw down some torches. Keep everything well lit. Keep yourself safe, keep your build safe, keep your villagers safe. Now for the next part, I'm going to measure out 49 blocks. You don't have to lay out the measuring line that I am about to lay out. I am doing this because I want it to be very clear where everything is. So I'm going to go to this door, drop down 1, so I'm even with the top of that door right there. And I'm going to come out 49 blocks. So I'm going to go 9 blocks and then place a solid block with a torch. 9 blocks, solid block with a torch. Again, this is just for me to measure. You do not have to build this. We're going to build another permanent line right next to this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 20. It's 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 30. Because it's 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 40. It's 10 more. And finally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 49 blocks out from the edge of the doors right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a line right next to here, but just above it, even with this green line. I'm just going to run it all the way out. So this blue line is not even with the first door, it is just inside of the first door, it's just to the east of the first door, as I'm building this out to the south. So my redstone line is going to run along these blocks. I'm having to reshoot this part because I made a mistake, so you may notice that there's the pink doors in line over there. We haven't done that yet. Don't worry, that's going to happen right after this. I just put this at the wrong height. So to show you how to do this, we are going to come over to the opposite side of where we just made this measuring stick. Opposite side of the line we ran out. Okay. I'm going to start measuring from here. Again, you don't have to make this measuring stick. This is just to make it really clear what I'm doing. So starting from that block, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. So my measuring stick comes out 16 blocks, measuring from this last block that we put in. And then at the same height as the measuring stick, which is 1 block below the line we ran out, I'm going to put a block here, and on the 9th block, here. And then we're going to come up, half slab on each, torch behind each, and then a door on each. Now these doors you have to be facing north-south when you place them. These are the only doors in the entire farm where you don't face east-west when you place them. These 2 doors, you face north-south when you place them. Every other door in the farm is an east-west door. Okay? Now coming back to here, we want to come up 1 block to make ourselves even with the top of this door. And from that 1 block you go 1, 2, 3. So you have a total of 4 blocks high. Knock out the bottom block, and then knock out this block. Put in a block there, and make this shape. So it's a nice step up, and then a gap and a block. In the gap, put a sticky piston. Underneath the sticky piston, put a torch. Top of the block, put a half slab. Come up, ring this block in glass if you are using glass for your villagers, and then make it 3 blocks high. Use your preferred means to get your villager in. Put a roof on it. Keep your villager safe. And put in your optional lighting block if you are choosing to use one. Okay. So there we are. Before we measured out 49 blocks, the villager is on the 49th. And then starting measuring from the villager, here's a door on the 9th and the 16th blocks. Okay. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and I will show you how to put in those pink doors over there. Now we want to come over here to the east side and run some doors out from this side and also a villager to detect them. In order to do that, I want you to come to the south side of the center line on the east side. And I am going to make a measuring stick. Again, you don't have to do this, but I am going to do it because I want to measure 29 blocks out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20, because it's 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that should be 29 blocks out from the back of these doors. And now along this, coming out 1 block, I just want to run a line that I can use later for redstone. I'm going to light up my measuring stick here. Looks like I'm not keeping things level. Let's raise this up by 1. Sorry about that. Let's keep that level. Okay, there we go. And that way we have all of our redstone in the same height. That is going to be important later. Okay, then over here I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to come over to the other side and make another measuring stick. This one I'm going to put down a solid block every 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay. And next to this 13th block, we can go ahead and put another block. And then one behind it, and one more. Then we can come down 2 wide, 7 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should be even with the edge of the farm. And then we are going to go 2 wide and come out this way 8 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that should put us even with the north side of the farm. Okay? So come up. And it's just like one of these over here. It's just longer. And keep in mind, this is not part of this farm. That's the other farm. And don't worry, it won't interfere. What you've heard about doors being too close to an iron farm is not true. It only matters if there's a villager near the door, and there are no villagers near those doors. So they will not interfere. You can have wooden doors within 100 blocks of an iron farm. It's fine. It's only bad if there's a villager within 16 blocks of them as well. Okay. We are just going to cover this whole thing with doors. Okay. So if we started counting from right here all the way to the last door, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I'm just going to light these guys up. So just like last time, we're going to come up to the height of the top of our door. And then we're going to go up 3 more. Knock that one out. Knock that one out. Put in our sticky piston. Okay. Then we want to come down here. Block. Take those guys out. Bam. Put our torch in. Wrap this guy in glass. And then bring it up so that the glass is 3 blocks high. Okay, take our villager. In my case, I take my spawn egg, get my villager in my basket, and then put in my optional lighting block. So now we have this pink line hanging here. We have this green line hanging here. And we have this blue line hanging here. The next thing I want to show you is how to put in your villagers. On the south side of the farm, come to the east side of the center line. Okay? So that means that your arrow is going to be opposite side of the farm, and you're looking at the right side of the center line. Go ahead and put in a block. I like to use a light block. Again, I like to keep my villagers lit. You don't need to though. Go ahead and put a ring of glass around this. Put glass back here to block up the spawning chamber of the golems. Go ahead and make all of this glass 3 blocks high with the glowstone in the center at the bottom. Take your villagers. You need to put at least 8 in here. The farm will run with 8. But to get the best rates, to get the 10 stacks an hour as advertised, you need to put 18 villagers in here. Okay? I don't know exactly what you'll get if you put 8 in here. I would imagine that you'll still get hundreds of iron an hour. But to get the 640 iron an hour, the full 10 stacks, you want 18 in here. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and lucky number 18. And I just go ahead and cover them up. And now we have all the villagers in the farm except for 2. We need to put in our detector villagers in their minecarts on either side for these doors. So, starting on the south side of the farm, I want you to come around here to the west and go down through here and find this northwest corner of the spawning box. Now look under the roof and come down to just above this lip right here and place a block. And place one more block right there, and then run blocks at this height around the corner, all the way over here, up there, and then up here. And then mirror this like this, going the other way. So it comes down, and then just under the roof we go up 1, and then past that we go up 1 more. Okay? Okay, great. Let's take some kind of temporary block, and we're also going to need our 2 fence gates. Or I'm sorry, our 4 fence gates. So, temporary block, fence gate, temporary block, fence gate, temporary block, fence gate, temporary block, fence gate. Okay? Now we need our powered rail and our regular rail. Go ahead and place your powered rail down like this, and then break this rail and place a block there, and then a half slab up top, and that will keep this rail up like this unless it gets updated. If it gets updated, just break this block, and I'll show you here. Let's update it. There, so that updated it. If I want to fix it, just put it back, block back. Okay. So run it around the corner, run this all the way down. You don't have to use as much powered rail as I'm using. Just use enough so that the villager will go back and forth if you're short on powered rail. If this rail is too expensive for you, you can just use a rail duplicator also if you're not opposed to it. I'm not going to do a tutorial. This is a rail duplicator. It's 6 blocks long. You put 2 slime blocks up at the top. You attach the piston to the top. Don't attach it to the bottom. It won't work. Put a block back here and do a powered rail and then some other kind of rail, or you can do some other kind of rail and then a powered rail. So this mostly dupes regular rail. I don't know if it dupes any powered actually. So you can see it just gives you tons of regular rail, or you can switch that. And this will give us powered rail. Yep. So there you go. So now we are going to run this guy up here, do the same thing, place our block in our half slab, come over, run our tracks down this way, break this, block, half slab, run our tracks down this way, around the corner, up, up, bam, stop there, block, half slab. You're going to have a villager here, so placing a torch is not at all a bad idea. And then to power all of this rail, you can just take a lever right here and do that. Or if you don't like the way that looks, you can take a torch and put it down here and then just put the block back. And that will power it too. That's my preferred method. Over here, you actually have a little bit of a corner, so you can put a block there and just place a torch. Okay? Oh, looks like I updated this somehow. So this is a good example of how do you fix it if it gets updated. Break that block, place a rail right there. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. So, they're trying to attach to each other. No problem. Place out an extra block, get that to attach in that direction. Oops. And then, get this to attach in this direction. Now they're both facing the way that they ought to be facing. And for each of these, just place a torch there, and a torch there. These villagers need to be in minecarts. So I place my villager down, bump him with a minecart, off he goes. There he is, safe and sound. Same thing on this side. Get my villager down, bump him with a minecart, and then we can give these guys a couple of torches for light. Alright, now let's go back around to the other side. We now have all of the doors in the village, all of the villagers in the village, and a way of moving around our detector villagers. It's time to do some redstone. Let's get started on it. Starting here at the south side of the farm, I want you to find your center line. Come out 2 blocks past the glass on your villager pod, and make a 2 wide strip that is 6 blocks long. Okay, just like this. Now take your hoppers, put one down, and then run them around like this. Face them into each other so that they ring clockwise. I'm sorry, so that they ring counterclockwise. Alright? So place these into each other. You have to crouch place to place a hopper into a hopper. If I try to just place one, it'll open it. But if I crouch place, I can place it into it. Okay? And now we need to take our furnaces. Just go ahead, and I like to face the outer ones in, so I don't have to see the furnace faces. Perfect. Okay. And then just cover this. Again, you've got to crouch to place those, and you're going to have to crouch to place this redstone all over the top of the furnaces. You can use droppers for this, and supposedly they're less laggy, but I don't like the clicking sound, so I use furnaces. First, I'm going to want to come into the 3rd block, and that is going to be from my green line. Then, I'm going to have another line, one that we haven't done any work on yet. I'm going to make it a purple line. That's going to come out right there. And then there's the blue line right here. That's going to come out here. And then we come over to this side. There's the pink line. Okay. And then there's another line that we haven't talked about or worked on yet. And that's going to come out here on the second block end. Okay. Now, I want to run this line out, go up one block, I'm sorry, I do go up one block, wait, go out two and then up one, and then over and then up one, okay? And this one out two and then up one, and then over, oops, and then up one. Okay, get rid of these. All right. And then the purple. You can do like this, and then like this, and then run it out one, and over, right to the edge. Okay? And same thing with the magenta on the other side. Go up one, and a gap, up, and up one at an angle, then out one, and then just run it straight back. And again, you don't have to be using all these crazy colors. This is just for clarity, so you know what's controlling what. Now with this, we're going to come out and around. Okay? And then once we're here, we're going to come up. Alright? So run this all the way over to the edge, and then all the way over this way. Bring your pink line back along here. Okay. And then just around the corner like that. Okay, that's awesome. We have all those lines run out. Now I'm going to change some colors here. This obviously doesn't make sense for you because you're probably not using colored wool, but I'm going to be running a circuit along this line over to here, so I'm going to change the color of that. Again, you don't need to do this either, but I'm going to change the color of this because I will be running redstone along here. Okay, actually this one's going to go all the way, I believe up to here. Okay. Right on. Now we need some repeaters and some comparators. And redstone torches. Okay. So, starting with our green line, comparator, repeater, comparator, torch, torch, comparator, repeater, comparator, repeater, comparator, torch, torch. Okay. And then just these very top bits right here. Go ahead and put a block on top of those, or a half slab, just to keep them unspawnable. Alright? Okay. Now, let's go ahead and run a line out this way. I'm going to put a torch right here at the beginning, just because I need to know how often I need to put in repeaters, and this is the easiest way. You just power it with a torch, where you start, run dust all the way out, get rid of these torches now because redstone is unspawnable. Just run it all the way out. Don't worry about repeaters along the way. Okay? And now go back. Now go back with your repeaters. And just wherever you need one, put one in. Just keep it on default tick. And just wherever the dust goes dark, put one in. And when you see this guy drop, there you go. You're good. Take that out. He should pop back up. There we go. Okay. Same thing. Let me turn off tile drops here. They do get messy when you're working in creative. Alright, we've got this powered and we just run it all the way out to the guy on the blue piston. There we go. And then same thing, just retrace the line, look where you need a repeater, wherever the dust goes dark, put one in. One more, oh, just short. Womp womp, okay. And then finally the pink line. Okay, looks like I forgot the half slab right here, so let's put that in now, just to keep that nice and unspawnable. Retrace my steps, go back over the line, and just put in a repeater wherever I need it to carry the signal all the way down. Just keep those repeaters on default tick, and everything will work out fine. Try not to destroy your own blocks, though. That's less fine. Okay, there we go. He's dropped down. We're all good. Okay, next. You don't even have to know how far this redstone is going. Ultimately, if you just run it along what I have here so far, we can do the same thing. Okay. So, whoops. Just put in a repeater where I need it. Put it in right before the corner then. And then here, I'm going to put it in right there. Okay. And that'll do everything I need. And then this one. Same thing, put it in right before the corner. Alright. And that'll reach what we're going to put in next. So, we're going to take a row of blocks, we're going to go one behind the piston, and run it all the way down, stopping just short of the end. We don't need it for the glass window. And then on every single one of these, just go ahead and put a torch. Okay? And just run dust straight down the back. Alright. Now for here, comparator runs in that way. Torch goes here. Comparator facing this way on subtract. Dust here. Comparator facing this way on subtract. Dust there. And then for this, use a recognizable block. Use something that you're going to be able to tell where it is from beneath the farm. What do I mean? I mean, I can come underneath the farm and find that red block. I know where it is. You want to be able to do the same thing. and put some dust right on top of it. So now what we want to do is we want to take a dropper and face it this way, and then come around the other way, facing right back into it, another dropper. It's like a kissing. Block, block. Dust, dust, dust. Repeater, 3 ticks. Take my half slab and run it over that. Okay. Now, another good reason to have a rail duper, or just something else you could do with it, is you need 9 stacks of something that stacks to 64 to put in here. So if you did decide to go with the rail duper, why not just dump a bunch of rail in there? Okay. Alright, now once you do that, if you power and then unpower this line, all the shutters should close. See that? They all closed. Okay, and if you want to test if this is working right, power it once. Did one of the shutters open? Alright, power it again. The next one open? Okay. If that's what's happening, if every time you power it, you get one more shutter opening, that's working correctly. And then if to reset it, you power this line with 15 signal strength, and it closes everything. That's functioning properly. That's exactly what you want it doing. Okay? Now we are going to build another one of these on the other side, except for this module, instead of going on the south side, is going to go on the north side. Same drill. Here we are, east side of the farm, north side of the farm. We're going to run the blocks just one block behind the piston, all the way down to one block from the edge, stopping there. Okay, we don't need one behind the glass. And then torches all the way down, and then dust all the way back. Then I am going to knock out these blocks to put in my wall. You, of course, do not need to do such a thing. Comparator here, comparator on subtract, comparator on subtract, dust, dust, torch, some kind of recognizable block that you'll be able to see from below, okay, something that you're going to notice. Put dust on top of that, dropper facing this way, fall off the roof. It's important. Farm won't work if you don't fall off the roof. Dropper facing back that way. Block, block. I'm going to take these out and replace them, which of course you do not have to. 3 ticks here, and then just connect it all up with dust. Go ahead and top these guys with half slabs if you like, to keep it unspawnable, although you're going to need to do some lighting up here anyway. And then once again, we need 9 stacks of something that stacks to 64. So I'm going to go with powered rail. Assume I used a rail duplicator. It was early game. Okay, and now to test if it's working properly. Test the reset circuit. Yep, there we go. The whole thing closed. Okay, let's try powering it. One shutter opened. Okay, power it again. The next shutter opened. Fantastic. Power it again. And the next shutter opened. Brilliant. That's exactly what we want to see. Every time we power it, we should get one and only one of these pistons extending. Okay, and then to reset it, we just power this with a signal strength of 15, and all the pistons will close. Now we want to do the main clock that's going to control the timing for the entire system. To do that, come to the south side where we're doing all of our redstone, and go right above our villagers. Go ahead and place a temporary block right there. Face a hopper into it. Break your temporary block, crouch place another hopper going back into the first one. Now, crouch place a dispenser up here, and another one on top of the other hopper. Alright, great. Now I want to go ahead and put a piston right there, and another one right there. Redstone block. Go ahead and do a block there and a block there. Do a block, break that, put a block there and a block there. Comparator here, comparator there. Come underneath, block out there, block out there. Keep those from talking back to each other. One here. Piston. Block. Repeater on 2 ticks. And then we go ahead and light it up with dust. Okay. Or light it up with a torch. Alright. These blocks up here, just go ahead, half slab them all up. Alright, the piston, place an extra block up there, and a half slab right there. When that ultimately powers, it'll just push that block and that half slab up. And this gap right here, this 1 block gap, nothing can spawn in there, not even 1 tall mobs. Okay? As long as you use a solid block. Okay, so there's our central clock. We'll put items in it later. I would be very annoyed to be listening to it running while building the rest of the farm, so we're just going to put all the items and everything at the end. Now we want to go ahead and put in the counting system. This way the farm knows how many villages it's formed and when to stop. Come along our central hopper line here, and on the northeast side, place a block. And then off of that block, to this side, place a dropper. And then into that dropper, place a hopper. And then on top of that hopper, place another dropper. You can face it forward like that if you don't mind seeing the face. I don't like seeing the face, so I'm going to place it facing down. And then come underneath the hopper, skip block, place one, and place a torch right there. And then up top, we want our comparator. Comparator goes right there. And then you just put dust right there. Either crouch place or just place against the glass. Okay? Alright, awesome. And then one more thing I want to do while I'm here is I want to break this corner block. I'm going to put in a block right there to replace it because I'm actually going to keep this block. And then every other one of these I'm just going to break. They were just temporary. This dispenser that we just placed, behind it and 1 level down, place another block, and then come up and place a block, and then come up right here next to the piston, place a block. Put a comparator right here, a torch right there, and a piece of dust right here. Okay. That's going to make sure when this is empty, when the counter has counted everything it has, that both the monostable and the clock are shut off. Alright. We're really close now. We're ready to pretty much just start putting in the reset circuit. So I want you to start right next to this torch, come down and add an angle, and then come down one more. Dust right there. And torch underneath. Alright. Also right here. Block and dust. Okay. Down here. Come off. Make this kind of C shape. put a torch right there. I'm sorry, I take that back. The torch doesn't go under there. We're going to place another block right there, and we're going to place one block right here. Okay? And the torch is going to go right there. Alright? Now if we come around back here, come off right there, and around this way, back off this way, and back up this way. Okay. Repeater here, 4 ticks. Repeater here, 4 ticks. Dust, dust. Alright. And then torch right there. Alright. Now back over on this side, dust, dust. And then coming off of this guy, we want to add a pulse extender. So we're going to add these 5 blocks like this. Put dust here, dust, dust. This comparator faces into it, and then another comparator picks up that dust. Okay. And we're going to come down here, come off this block, come off one more. Just put a repeater there with some dust behind it for right now. Coming back to this side, we're going to put a block right here, torch right there, dust right here. And then go ahead and take a half slab or a torch or something and put it right there for spawn proofing. Okay, another one right there. Okay, now we want to run our reset line all the way out to the villagers and to reset the shutters. So we're going to take this line right here, and we're going to run it right up to this lip. So I'm going to replace the lip with red, just to make it really obvious where I am running all of my redstone. Okay. So, take a signal from here, run it up, around, over, over, over. Once I hit this, I'm going to want to grab a repeater on the other side. Bam. And then run this over, over, over. Okay. Come back this way. Take a look at my recognizable block. Come down. Leave a gap, come down, leave a gap. And now I will staircase down. Torch here, torch there. Connect it up with dust. Okay. Alright, great. So now we're going to run this line kind of around this corner like this. Put a torch right here. Just connect it up with dust. Okay. There we go. Run around the corner. All the way until you get to here. Run it straight into the block, and then a torch, block, up block, dust, torch, come up one, run it around the corner, dust all the way around the corner, go up one, torch, okay, find your recognizable block, 1, 2, leave a gap, 1, 2, leave a gap, pull a signal off of this torch, run it around the corner, oops, one more, right into this block, 1, 2, okay. So that should be run all the way around now. Now let's power it from this end and just make sure that we're getting all the way to where we need to get. So I'm going to put a torch underneath here. So that's going to power that with signal strength of 15. I'm going to run it all the way down. Catches up the repeater, goes up here. Causes the reset here, that's good. Go down here. Run along this way. Okay, and we're going to run out of signal strength. So let's just put a repeater right behind this, I don't know, pylon. Okay, so it runs into here, turns this off, opens this, sends our villagers back to the center, which is where they need to go. They're both there. Okay, everything looks great. Can go ahead and take that torch out. Well, there we go. So, piston here, 3 blocks here. Comparator here, going into a redstone lamp. Torch on the side, dust on the side, redstone block here, place down temp block, hopper goes in, crouch place another hopper feeding back, dropper here, whoops, dropper here, and then just go ahead and half slab these guys. Alright. Get a button. Get a lever. Button on the front. Lever on the side. Now it's time to put all the items that we need to put in all the different hoppers. So come down here to this little timer. Put in 1, 2, and a quarter, 2 3/4 stacks. Okay. Come up here. This block right here above, or this hopper above this block, go ahead and put 1 item in there. Okay. Take your remaining 15 and go ahead and put them in here. Alright. Now we need 9 items in there. Okay, and you can see it spring right to life. So we've got 1 item in here. You can see it's actually moving through. We have our 2 3/4 stacks items in here. We have our 15 items that go in here. There's 15. Okay. And then we have our 9 items that go in the clock. And that is a completed iron farm. Now, if everything's been done correctly, this guy should just start right up. So let's go ahead, push the button. And what should you expect? Well, first things, it shouldn't look like much is going on. All of our villagers should be raised up on their pistons. all of the shutters should close on both sides. And these 2 villagers should get sent to the north side of the farm. And then it should just sit there like this for about 1 minute and 20 seconds. After 1 minute and 20 seconds, you will see the clock activate. Our 1 minute and 20 seconds has passed, our clock is activated. So now what we should see is this should start flashing. Every time this pops back over here, we should get 1 flash. And on the 3rd flash, we should see this line activate. There it is. So the first thing we see is the green villager drops. Then he pops back up and this shutter opens. A few seconds later, the blue villager drops. A few seconds later, he'll pop back up and the pink villager will drop. And then a few seconds later, the pink villager will pop back up and a shutter over here will open. Now, for about 1 minute, nothing much will happen. Although partway through it, if you're observant, you might notice that this activates, activating the counter 1 time before doing the next loop. But there's going to be 14 more of these loops while it goes through the next 14 shutters. It should take about 20 minutes in total. At the end of that 20 minutes, you should have close to 2 stacks of iron. After that, the farm should start producing 10 stacks of iron per hour, which is about a stack every 6 minutes. Let's fast forward and see how this farm performs. Okay guys, the clock on the build circuit just shut down a moment ago, so why don't we go check out what we got during the 20 to 22 minute build cycle. There we go. In the 22 minutes or so it takes to build the farm, it produced 2 stacks and almost a quarter of iron. That seems pretty typical. Usually I get the first stack somewhere in between villages 10 and 12, which is, let's see here, 9, 10. This one is village 10, 11, 12. This one's village 12. So somewhere usually in this region is where I end up with my first stack, and then I usually end up with another stack by the end. Well, that's it guys. Good on you for sticking it through. I apologize for how rough this tutorial was. I'm not a YouTuber. I've never done a tutorial before. I have some experience and some background in teaching, but this is a very new thing for me. Hopefully it was easy enough to follow. I know I didn't make any major mistakes during it that I wasn't able to correct almost immediately. I didn't have to go back here at the end and say, oh gosh, I forgot this repeater timing, or oh gosh, you know, there's supposed to be a door over here. So everything should be good, everything should work right off the bat. Enjoy your 10 stacks of iron an hour. I'll see you back here next time for the 32 village, which will produce 20 stacks of iron an hour. That's an easy one to build right off the bat, but it's also an easy one to convert this one into. Direct upscale, direct upgrade. That's one of the great things about this farming series. Thanks for dropping in, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Drop down in the messages and let me know how this one went. Let me know how it worked for you. And please, if you know someone else who wants big iron in their world, let them know. You know, I'm not a monetized YouTuber. I'm not making any money off of this. This is because I want you guys to be able to build these awesome farms. Please do. Please enjoy. Have a great one. Cheers.